Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Connecting with Local Businesses to Provide Value, with your MAPS coach, Scott Koyman and Kenny Klaus. Please note this webinar is being recorded and you will automatically receive the webinar recording. If you have any questions for your coach, please type them into the questions box located in your webinar taskbar. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's call or coaching program, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That's fasttrack@kw.com. All right, that's all for me, team. Go ahead and take it away.
Hey, thank you. Hi, I'm Scott Koyman, and Kenny will be here in just a second, finishing up his mastery call right now. But today we're going to talk about connecting with local businesses, doing what we call our farm route, and then we'll talk about some of the successes that we've seen from that. So to just give you a little bit of background on who we are and what we do, we're out here in Mesa, Arizona, which is a suburb of Phoenix. Mesa, though, if it was not a suburb, we'd probably have sports teams. We're larger than Atlanta or Miami, St. Louis as far as city go, but we're the nation's largest suburb. And so we sell more homes in Mesa than anybody else, but we only market to a small corner of it. And we do that through hyper-local geographic farming in just a couple zip codes, and we see the bulk of our volume coming from that stuff. So that's who we are, and Kenny just walked in.
What up, everybody?
And so
get this party started.
Kenny, let's talk about the farm route. Let's talk about some of the successes that we've seen from that.
Man, it is so expensive and such hard work. I don't know why anybody would do it. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Says the people not doing it. Man, I think that as we see technology, and I don't know about a lot of the markets you guys are in, but Arizona, everybody tries out their new toys out here, tech-wise. So iBuyer to discounts to, you name it. The one thing that we have as agents that none of these companies have, and I think you guys know what that is us. It's the foot soldiers. It's the people out in front of people that actually know we care and can love on them and add tremendous value if we're actually valuable ourselves. And I think that's the big question that I'm going through for our team, and as I teach is, we gotta quit looking out the window and start looking in the mirror and say, are we doing everything we can? And I think one of the things I look at right now is at the end of the transaction, they get their keys, they move in. What's their feeling about what we did? Did we add enough value where they go, I couldn't have done that without, Kenny Klaus? Or are they going, man, I found the house and I set it up and I drove by it and they walked in, they wrote a full price offer. They didn't show up at closing. So just be, really aware of what we're doing out there, and that we're trying to make sure, that we are making sure that we know the product we're selling. And one way to do that I found that helped me gain my confidence and be a bigger value was by running my realtor route. And what that meant was kind of the one thing concept, going small to go big. It was really getting to know an area very well, because then you can add more value. You get to know the schools, you get to know the businesses, let alone just previewing and knowing all the builders and all the properties. Now, some of your markets may be different than ours. Ours, obviously, in Arizona, a lot of tracts, big tracts, 2,000 homes, even more in some cases, and a lot of, 300-400 tract subdivisions. And of course, we have smaller and custom, but is really getting to know the market that you're serving. And so when we're talking about connecting, one of the big things for us was, well, we know the clients are doing business with the local businesses. So how do we add value? And one of the things was, I call running our route, just like FedEx, you ran residential route and you ran a commercial route. So you had businesses and residential. So that was kind of my vision was, why don't we get out and talk about the network group, right? Is that good to talk about the network group that we created? Which again, this is not revolutionary or, man, how do you come up with that? It's the consistency to it, and then the value proposition as you're out running your route and meeting local businesses. As you go, hey, we have this little group that meets, once a month, 7:30 in the morning, third Tuesdays of the month. The idea is to keep local dollars within the community and share our businesses and insights with other people in the community. Is that something you'd be interested in? As you can imagine, not too many people say no. I mean, it's kind of a big value. Then, hey, can we get, you guys have any kind of marketing stuff, coupon, anything that we can put in our move-in bucket? We have a little move-in bucket for people moving into the area. So the point is that and again, we'll always say that, real estate is a contact sport, right? I mean, you have to go get in the game. You can't stand on the sidelines, which was a lot of people are doing right now with technology, is waiting for a lead to pop into their inbox. And we all know the quality typically of those. This is getting out, meeting people, you're really trying to become two things. You're trying to become kind of the mayor of the community as well as the digital mayor of the community, meaning we absolutely want to have an online presence. And one way to do that is when you talk about local businesses, hey, would you mind if we just shot a quick video about your business? It's not meant to be professional. It's meant to be, actually reality TV, if you will, like real. Tell us a little bit about your business, and then we'll share it on our Facebook page. By the way, that gives us then content for our newsletter that is hyper local. It's not general. And so the compounding effect of one business interview is you get content online, you get content offline, you meet another person that you've now given value to, and hopefully in turn they give value back. For example, going back to our dry cleaner, right? I went into him, we did a video, you shot it.
It was quick.
It was quick. I didn't know they did sleeping bags and wedding dresses, and we asked him the most interesting thing he's cleaned, and it was just really an interesting, fun little video. He got all dressed up for it. It was kind of funny. He has mom there, actually. But the cool thing afterwards is we did the link, sent it to him, posted it, and he's like, hey, Kenny, I was wondering, would you want to print something, and I'll staple it on every bag that goes out of here for the next month, which was over 10,000 bags. So point being that very, very simple to do, but because we gave to receive, he wanted to give back. And so we've seen that, quite a bit time and time again. And these are from professional services. We just did one with our CPA, to your carpet cleaner, to your pest control guy, to the local sandwich shop, whatever it is. It just gives you a reason to not feel like a salesy person who's just trying to get a real estate transaction. All you're really, in my opinion, trying to do is build a brand and a household name in the area that when they think real estate, they know to call you. So keep in mind, every single person that you come across and meet, they're either one of two things. They're either a homeowner or a renter. So everybody's a potential candidate. And then you just, after you meet them once or twice, you go, hey, do you happen to own a home in the area? Oh, yeah, great. Hey, we got this new system, and I'm practicing on some home valuations or some market updates in the area. Is it something you'd be interested? And then instead of saying, what's your email, you just say, where's the best place to send that? And then they typically give you an email address. So just hopefully some quick nuggets, kind of speed. We're kind of speed dating today, it looks like, but that's how we move. So what else we got, Scott? What do we want to?
So let's talk about a couple other than the ones that we've talked about. What businesses have seen some growth because of the spotlights that we've done on them?
Man, our carpet cleaner, Mike, is I think we're his only source of referrals. And the guy, he comes to the meetings, we do a quick video, and people just love him. Our window cleaner now has grown his business, where now he's looking at hiring someone, and we're kind of helping him with the hiring process, thanks to KW having such great models for hiring, specifically those two. And then we can think about our pool guy, Mike. I've been talking about, now he's a licensed contractor, and he's actually looking at building pools because he built up his route through doing a lot of our repairs and things like that. And these guys are like loyal, raving fans, and it becomes a two-way street. So, and even like the local bank, the Wells Fargo, they get new business customers coming in, and it gives them a reason to add value to invite the new business to our network. Oh, hey, there's a local networking event. They try to keep dollars in the community. I know you just opened a business account. Is that something that that you'd like to go to? So you start creating a sales force that aren't on your payroll, which is kind of fun too.
So what is the approach that you take? Because I know that in the end, we want to connect with local businesses and provide value. Why? Because we want them to send us referrals.
Right.
But what is the approach that you take and the posturing that you take in order to make sure that it feels authentic for the business people?
It's always
we don't want them to feel like we're just working them for referrals.
Well, I think that's kind of what we talked about with some of the approaches to how do you give value first? How do you give somebody something and in turn they want to reciprocate? So, whether it's inviting them, you walk into a business, say the American Family Insurance agent. I can remember the first time going in there, they didn't even want to give me the time of day because I wasn't there for an insurance policy. Then I showed up the next month, and then the next month, and the next month, Brian, he says, hey, come in here. I got to talk to you. What are you doing? Like you're here all the time. It feels like you're here all the time. I said, this is what I'm doing, and can we do a story about you in the newsletter? And he was like, okay. And it's just been fun to watch his business grow and ours. But it's like anything, right? It's kind of awkward at first, and then you just say, hey, how about a quick video? Hey, do you have any coupons you want us to put? These are people moving into the area. And then one of the things that was a byproduct of doing that was when we print our newsletters, we usually always end up with extras, of course, or we'll have an overrun. So I think currently we have 43 or 44 businesses in the farm that we have a little acrylic stand that we put our newsletters in. It says, Your Community Connection free newsletter. What that does now is gives you a purpose to go visit those businesses every month. Remember, I said a purpose. You've got to go refill the newsletters. I was even at the Supercuts getting my hair cut the other day, and they're like, man, the gal that comes in here, because we have now someone who kind of runs the route on the community outreach for us. Like, she's so nice, she's so this, and it's like they look forward to her now coming and bringing that newsletter. So it's, again, I'm a high I, so rejection is not really in my DNA, and it makes me, I don't like it, and so I have to have a purpose if I'm visiting someone. And what I've tried to do through our farming routes is create purpose so that you want to go continue doing it, because it's actually kind of fun, and people, now you get to know everybody. And by the way, if you live in the area, which is ultimately kind of the goal, it's amazing what people will start doing for you and the connections they'll open up.
So how many times have you gone out there for a business visit and walking in to provide value and they've been annoyed and offended?
It's funny, early on when you don't have a brand, it's obviously a lot more frequent. The key to it is that you don't quit, you keep showing up, and eventually they just can't figure out what the hell you're up to. And don't get me wrong, there's times when you show up and you've got nothing against 16-year-old kids, I've had a couple of them myself, is that they may not be the right person. But if you say, hey, here's this newsletter, or you write down that address, you go back to the office and you mail one to the business owner and you just share with what you're doing. It's just being relentless. But what happens is, like in a strip mall, all those business owners, they end up talking over time too. And they're like, oh yeah, we just did a video. Oh really? How do we do that? And because again, it's all free marketing on our zip code Facebook page. And so rejection is the name of the game. It's how you handle it. And remember, and I think it's, I've heard it many times, and I know Darren Hardy most recently is, there's no failures. You either learn or you have success. And once you learn enough, you have more success. So it's the way your mindset is when you go out there is, I have something to share, and it's really a disservice to somebody if they don't know how I do real estate, because we care, we want the best for our client, and we're a very client-centric model. So I actually look at it as like, man, I'm not doing them a service if I don't go meet with them and talk to them and at least make them aware that I do real estate. And don't get me wrong, we don't get them all. There's always going to be relationships, but like a listing we just took, actually we're in the process of getting the house ready. The guy's son and wife used to be licensed realtors, and they had to get out of the business, and now they're moving out of state. And I've never even met him, and they said, Dad, you got to call this guy. He's the best. And it was just kind of funny how the dad is in a different part of town, but he's like, yeah, they used to be agents, and they were like, you guys were awesome. So you just never know how things will work out over time. But the key is building that brand so that you become a trusted household name. And then, think about going small to go big is if you have, say you sell 25 homes, but they are literally, all 25 miles apart in overall. So they're kind of scattered, and you get a review here, a review there. Or imagine you sell 25 homes in one geographic area and you get 20 reviews on those. Year over year, I think we're at 600 and some reviews, and we just got serious about it 3 years ago. And I just took a pretty good size listing for us. It's like 850. And she said, we went to Zillow because it's not one of my farms, but you were number one in the city of Mesa. And so it's just a compounding effect, but you've got to start somewhere. And if your goal is to be in real estate 2, 3, 4 years from now, do you want to keep adapting to whatever the new technology is that's going to not only control what we get paid, how we get paid, when we get paid, or do you want to control the lead source? And that's what, if you think about what Gary said before on stage, is he who controls the lead source controls the lead and what you get paid. Well, we can look back to many lead sources over the years, and they've changed their algorithms, they've changed the way they structure it. But with farming, we control the consistency, we control the content, we control the value, and then how it's delivered. So for us, it's our job to go, really be the voice of real estate for our local market. I see too many of us as agents, especially like in the forums and stuff, reacting to an Inman article. And it's like, yeah, but have you even updated your database, or are you allowing them to read what Zillow says or what Redfin says or what other sources online say? Or have you sent out a video to your database to say, hey, there's these iBuyers in our market and this is how it works? And the great news is I can go through all these things with you and represent you through the entire process and help kind of clear up the confusion. I think one of the cool things about the market is that it's actually created a ton of confusion for a homeowner. Which route do I go? What's safe? What do I do? And it's your job to stay in touch. So, I know we've been talking about local businesses and providing value, and that's kind of what the slide says, but I think it's also about delivering the message of what's happening in the local market. Like this morning in our sales meeting, we have a little scam thing going on after people close on their mortgage and, you owe on your homeowner's insurance or, whatever it is. Sorry, my cabin ring camera went off, barking dogs. So that way I know which one it is. But it came up and it's like, great, let's get a copy of that letter. We'll shoot a video to send out to our database, and then you guys can post on Facebook, because again, we're adding value because we're coaching people through, something directly related to their house. So again, the opportunity is everywhere. It's just trying to laser focus the message and then make sure that your brand becomes top of mind in a geographic area, not only in people's mailboxes, but with the local businesses. Because what we found is a lot of local business owners live in our farm. They live very close to where they work or where they own their business.
So you guys can answer or ask questions just with the little question box in the GoToWebinar thing. A couple questions in there right now. Is this being recorded, and will the copy be emailed to you? Yeah, Maps is recording this, and you should get. I think you should get a copy, a link to that at the end of the call. So Steve's asking, when you do a video with a local business, which app do you suggest for editing, if any? I like the if any. So we used to go all out. Kenny called it, what'd you call it, the Fox News?
Yeah, it was like the Fox News ticker across the bottom.
And we had a ticker on the bottom. We had a lower third graphic. You could do that. And for that, we used Adobe Premiere. But then we found that there was one or two times that we just needed to get a video out, didn't have time to edit it. and threw it out there, and it didn't seem that the flashy graphics really made that much difference. And so we don't really do that. We do use viral marketing for a few of our things, and they'll do the graphics, but there's a lot of times we just do our own and just upload it from the iPhone.
Yeah, something's better than nothing, you know, and even it's just silly stuff. But like this morning, one of our clients, it's his birthday, and I just went out front of the office, shot a quick video, sent it to him. Hey man, just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. And it's that next level of touch. And he's already texted back, hey, thanks man, hope all's well with the family. It's just fun, man. I mean, they've got to see your emotion and that you care. And I think you just have to think, what resonates with you? Is it a Facebook happy birthday, or is it next level stuff? Just everything has to be on purpose in your mind, and that whole concept of plan your work and work your plan, it becomes really important, because what we've created, and what I hope that others will take on and create, is a business plan around your business that actually has steps and purpose. Like when I think back to FedEx, and we went in the morning, the trucks backed in, the packages started coming down the belt. We were all separated out. We took packages that went on our route. Once we got those, we sorted them. We left the building. We had 10:30s, then we had 3 o'clocks, then we had pickups, and everything was very structured. In our real estate businesses, it tends to be, you know, who's got what problem today and who's complaining the most, and let's go sit with them. And it doesn't have, what's your goal this week? Is it, I want to write 10 handwritten notes, so 2 a day. I want to call 10 people, that's 50 people, that's 10 a day. And I want to have 1 on-purpose lunch. I know I'm getting into lead gen, but you can do all this within your farm. That's the cool thing. You pick a restaurant, that's where you have lunch. Well, by the way, you get to know everyone. I don't know if everyone's read Michael Mayer's 7 Levels of Communication, but ironically bases it around a restaurant, and he meets multiple people there. Well, you get to know the staff, they make you look good. And by the way, over time, they have a real estate need. So it's that keeping everything in one area, as long as your turnover rates are there, as long as you like the area, if there's homes you want to sell, you're familiar with it, and just start small. Start with 500 or 1,000 homes if you have to, just to start practicing, and then ramp it up. But then be doing open houses in the area. You know, I don't care if you have to take a listing for, I know we can't talk commissions, we'll say 1 apple instead of 3 apples, or 0 apples, just to get a sign in the yard and be able to sit that
I like
open.
apples though.
But to sit it open, because now you've got some collateral to market, you've got content for your newsletter, and then you do a good job, you get a Zillow review. The point is that, you know, sometimes that could be a loss leader, but it's a big marketing piece. Having a sign in the yard, they start to see your brand, then they tell the neighbors. And so again, it's just massive action, but it's strategic, and that's what I want. I don't want, like, I look at it, you know, I just don't want you to shotgun out. You know, you want to, you know, I think the one thing starts with chase 2 rabbits and catch none. I want you to really start, you still want you to hunt, right? As you're building a farm, you're still out hunting and trying to drive business, but you're also planting seeds for the future, because it's real nice to look up 2-3 years from now and actually own a real estate business in a geographic area, versus wake up January 1st next year and start at 0 and go from there. And being a high I like me, it's a lot nicer when people call in and say, can you come meet with us to talk about selling our house, versus me having to call hundreds of people and get told where to go enough times and finally get an appointment, but then they're interviewing 3, 4, 5 people. It's a different market when they call you, because they've already weeded things out, like, we need to get our house sold.
So Hannah's asking, do you have an example of the newsletter that we can share? We do. If you Google ISSUU, that's ISSUU, Kenny Klaus, you'll see one of the ones from, well, looks like October of 2018. You can see what we do. So that's ISSUU, Kenny Klaus, and you should be able to find it there. What or who do you use to design your newsletter? Now,
You're talking to them.
So we use InDesign now, but caveat, we've used multiple products in the past. We've used products that weren't supposed to be used for that, because that's what we had. But the business was built on using Microsoft Publisher with pretty much no graphic design knowledge whatsoever.
That's the truth. That was pre-Scott.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, the design does not matter as much as the hyperlocal content. If what you're putting in there matters to people, they don't really care what it looks like. It's nice to have it flashy and pretty and good looking, but if you're going to start with content. And the best way to find content is to drive around your farm. And if you look at something and go, wonder what's going there. Wonder why that is. Wonder what this is. People in your farm are wondering the same thing. And so it makes great content.
Call the power company, call the city, get with your town council person. So like we're District 6, so Kevin Thompson's our guy. He knows a lot that's happening. So we just reach out to him monthly. Hey, what's happening in the area? Anything that we can share?
And he sends us over the blueprints and everything, and we can just put that in our newsletter, and it makes it pretty easy. Hannah, we don't use KW Video, but that is a great resource.
It is really for someone if you don't, it's affordable and 100% agree with that. Yep.
For creating your networking group, Kenny, what location do you use? Length of meeting, how often do you meet?
All right, so I'm going to cheat a little bit here, but I didn't always. So we had a local. Well, originally started at Wells Fargo in their little conference room, and it got too small. So we went to a restaurant, and then about 7.5 years ago,
you moved to another restaurant.
We did.
Is it a good restaurant?
It's amazing. It was actually voted best sports bar, best wings, best place to watch a game, second for best burger behind In-N-Out Burger. So. No, we're laughing because I actually own now 3 restaurants in our area. One right in the farm and then 2 others. But so we actually have a private back room at our own restaurant, so we obviously hold it there. And to be honest, we provide the room. People bring their own, drinks. They provide if they want coffee or water. I don't get there early.
But it's the same thing that it was at Uncle Bear's.
Same thing, yeah. Very, very simple. Again, you don't overcomplicate it. You just have a little flyer when you're stopping by the businesses and you invite them to it. And, a lot of restaurants will let you come in early. We do 7:30 just because a lot of business owners, instead of doing the end of the day, but figure out time that works. If there's a golf course, a lot of times they have a little restaurant there that's already open in the morning or other facilities. Try to keep it neutral, meaning not churches, not political stuff, but easy. Yeah, and make it, you can format it as much as you want. We just go around, everyone introduces themselves, and then we talk about, marketing ideas, things that work, don't, how do we best refer you, what books we're reading, what local events are happening. A lot of times they bring us workshops that they know are going on. We just had our trust attorney doing a couple workshops, so we were able to post that to our people. So really don't overcomplicate it.
No, it's consistency. Ours is the 3rd Tuesday of each month at 7:30 in the morning.
For like 10 years now.
Yeah, and for everybody that's been there, Friday an email reminder goes out, and then Monday an email reminder goes out.
And that way they can share it with other businesses too.
And let's see, how often do you do your video interviews? We actually have multiple farms, but we also have additional team members that do some of these. So even one of our agents is doing Foodie Fridays, and so they'll go. And they don't film it on Friday; they film it whenever they have the opportunity. But they post it on Friday, and so he's doing that. It seems like a couple times a month.
He was doing it every Friday, but I think he's doing maybe 1 or 2 a month. But as far as in the main farm, the goal is to try to have 2 businesses a month that we put on there. So the newsletter comes out the first week, and then to have something like the 2nd and say 4th week, depending what the relevancy is. Or what I try to do is I try to do 1 video a month. So like the first week of March, I do a video giving everybody their local market and community update. So I just talk as quickly as I can, as you can tell. about what's happening in the local market, and then kind of any new business or anything that's happening. And so I give people hopefully a reason to listen, even if it's not about real estate. But I just want them to keep seeing our brands, keep seeing me, and that it compounds because people know, well, man, 10 years later, they're still talking about the local market. They obviously know the market.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps.
So, Mason's asking, did you always include something like an area CMA in your newsletters? We've added more market data in the past, but we've always done the recent sales, and we do have, overarching hyper local, so it's just to that zip code or just to that neighborhood, market stats like days on market, average sale price, those kinds of things. But I don't think that's the most valuable. Whenever anecdotally, the highest value in our newsletters is the recent sales.
And that's because a lot of IDXs and stuff, they can't get that data, and everybody wants to go right to their square footage or their subdivision and see what things are selling for. So definitely the most, but he's been doing a graphic.
We just do a little, it's just the address, the square footage, and the price.
Yep.
On all the recent sales. And we found we put a little icon once next to the ones that we sold, and that kind of backfired because then we realized that people thought that all the ones we were putting in there, so they thought that we sold them. So we got rid of the little icon next to the ones that were ours. When you interview your business owners, do you ask a set of certain questions, let the conversation flow, or let them talk about their business?
All the above. The answer is
what's most comfortable to the person that we're interviewing.
Depending on what the business is, you try to start with a few questions. Hey, today we're here with so and so with Careful Cleaners. Just wanted to take a minute, introduce him, and let him tell us a little bit about his business and his store. And then he'd start talking. Hey, thanks everybody. Yeah, we're full service cleaner, blah blah blah. And then we panned around, and he had a wedding dress hanging there, he had a sleeping bag hanging there, he had a couple other items that he does. Kind of talked about his business. I said, okay, what's the most interesting thing you've cleaned? We kind of laughed about that, and then we exited. So a minute and a half or so, and it went really, really well.
Patty asked, do you post the videos on websites, for example, on community page? We do post them on social media, Facebook mainly. We also will do little stories on our neighborhood site. We just revamped it a little bit. So I don't know how many of those are on there, but 85209.com will give you an example. Kendra's asking, how many towns do you operate in, and how do you tailor your content to those towns? Each town has its own identity. So Kendra, we operate in many, many towns, but we only market by direct mail. We only market to one city, and then we do some social media to a couple other towns. And yeah, everything that we post, so we may post one post and put it on maybe 3 different neighborhood pages that we have, and not 4 other ones, because it doesn't work. Sometimes we post it to all, but we're only posting stuff that applies to that area.
And Kendra, to break it down for you too, depending, so I coach a couple of people, and they're in areas where they don't have subdivisions, so it's a little bit probably different conversation. For me, in 2003, I bought about 105 zip codes in the valley here, so like 85209.com, 85212. So we market to zip code geographic areas instead of trying to go to like 28 subdivisions that are in one of those zip codes. But if you had a large subdivision, like we have a new one that opened that's going to end up with, when it's all built out, I think they're saying like 15,000 homes or something ridiculous. It's almost like a city. That even though it's in one of our zip codes, there's the talk, do we just go to, ineastmark.com, for example? So the word in and then Eastmark, but we had a little pushback from their legal team using.
Well, we've used live before too, but yeah, you got to make sure it's not trademarked.
But for us, again, going back to it, it's really zip code based. But if you have a large enough subdivision and you can use the name, or it's like Superstition Mountain area or whatever, however you could draw the identity. You want to be careful, and this is kind of the way I look at it, is you want to be careful to farm and not ranch. And the reason I say that is farms are a little bit smaller, more niche, more specific. whereas ranching tends to be like a giant ranch, and maybe the message isn't as personal to that community. I hope that helped or made sense.
And Kendra, farming is not new. It's been around for a long, long time. And there are a lot of stories where in areas that weren't master planned, back in the day, that was just an area of town that didn't really have its own identity. It ended up getting an identity because some realtor somewhere decided to farm it and just made up a name for it. And so sometimes you could do that too and just make up a name for that area. We kind of created Southeast Mesa for ourselves. How long are your newsletters, and how long are the videos you post? Videos we like to keep, 2 to 5 minutes, somewhere in there. I always like 2 minutes because it's quick and
2 minutes or less is really the attention span, if that.
Yeah.
So.
And then our newsletters, we have one that's 4-page and 2 that are 8-page. The platform for our 85209.com site is WordPress with a we just found a whole bunch of, we found a magazine style theme, and I don't remember the name of it, but we just looked at all the different ones and found one that we liked. But all of our sites for the most part are on WordPress because we're not all that techie. We just play it on TV.
We just do it.
We just kind of pretend. Are you familiar with Nextdoor, and what's your opinion of purchasing a zip code? Yes, we're very familiar with Nextdoor.
Great question too. That's a great question. I currently do have sponsored listings in one. We were doing a pilot with them when they first launched with KW. I can't tell you I've seen a tremendous. It's kind of hard to tell, right? Because we already have been farming these areas way before Nextdoor. But I try to jump in, or Kim on our team, who kind of manages our community connection stuff, tries to jump in when they need a painter referral or electrician referral, or if there is a real estate question. We definitely, you have to interact with those things and just be part of it. I happen to be the sponsor of our main farm just because when it first launched, I grabbed it so I could kind of see what's going on and know.
It's more of an offensive move so that we don't have to be defensive later on.
But we post like we do a monthly homeowner workshop. We have a VA workshop at our office tomorrow night. The first time home buyer workshop, I think it's next week. So we do use it to post our local events too. And every once in a while, of course, we'll post our open houses on there. And every once in a while, we'll post, some, homes, great rental opportunity or great investment opportunities and a link in there. But I don't try to overbeat up the real estate, just kind of like Facebook, right? 1 out of every 5 is kind of real estate related.
And, stuff like that too. Sometimes we can't identify any closings that come from it. Things like we do grocery store dividers in grocery stores within our farm. We wouldn't do them outside of our farms, and we don't do it for lead gen purposes. Don't think we've ever gotten a call off of it, but them seeing that will remind them of the piece that we sent in the mail. We'll remind them of all the other stuff.
I don't think they ever got updated.
They didn't get updated?
I don't think so.
We'll have to update those.
No, the ad dividers have been actually pretty funny. I hear people all the time like, man, we see you everywhere. We even went to the grocery store, and there you were, because it's those little things that separate the groceries if you're not familiar with them. Some of them, they don't offer advertising. The one grocery store in our farm does, and so we've owned that for probably 10 years now. But you compound it as you reinvest into your business, take money off the table. And like for me, being FedEx guy, I was like, okay, we got to get a moving truck. So in 2004, now you've got a moving billboard running all around, town, all around the farm all the time. Matter of fact, when we first got it, I would purposely drive through the school zone every day because you had to go real slow, and everybody, all the moms were there to see it. So, but everything just becomes purposeful in that area, and that includes your sponsorships, any of your other marketing, that kind of stuff. So,
Ben, hey Ben, sorry we weren't able to connect at family reunion. Do you send anything through eNeighbors? I've never heard of eNeighbors.
No, we don't send. I know what you're talking about, but no, it's not very popular here.
Tina says, what kind of information do you cover in your first time home buyer workshop, and where do you hold the events? She says at a specific business you're helping to spotlight. That would be a good idea. But we have them here at our office. We we used to do them at a variety of different places, golf course, we did them at the restaurant, and we just kind of built a bullpen in our office,
A training room.
a training room, and so we designed it to be able to hold those workshops. And
the biggest takeaway from the workshops, and after doing them for a while now, we're starting to tailor it more to almost like preparing your home to go to market, because a lot of it was showing like what a lot of these houses have, like the brass doorknobs, and then showing what the new ones look like and what the cost is. We kind of explained the value of having, a real estate agent on your team, especially because we have a lot of new construction. Kind of go through mortgage a little bit, home inspection, having your own buyer's agent, what that means. So it's about an hour presentation through slides, and then we try to make it interactive to find out, really I have a whiteboard up there. I just ask, hey, before we get started, what were you hoping to take away from our time together today? And sometimes you'll get people say a few things and, okay, great, we're going to cover that in the presentation, or, let's talk about that. And then just ask great questions. And by the way, doing the workshop, I don't care if nobody or one person shows up. The truth of it is it's content for your newsletter, and it brands you as the local market expert that you're willing to get in front of people. And the value to it is that even if they don't show up, they see you as out in front of people leading the conversation. So it starts to brand you as the local market expert. You're the one delivering local content to the neighborhoods.
all right, Kenny, we had a workshop on Saturday. How much did that workshop cost us?
So that's the cool thing. I mean, what I realized is once we had the newsletter, and keep in mind the Arizona market, for those who are familiar with it, we've been through we don't have seasons here, but we've been through every real estate season. So, when the market went way up and things were selling with 25 offers in 25 minutes, to all of a sudden, where'd everybody go? And we went through short sale and foreclosure. Then we had a class, avoid foreclosure, know your options. Then the market started to rebound a little bit. So then we had, what was our other one called?
Road Back Home.
I just blanked for them. Roadbackhome.com. So then we had a program where we taught people how to get on the road back home. And then we had the investor stuff, and now we're back to traditional. My point is, once you have the audience, whatever the message is changing in the market, you just adapt to that. So now what he was saying, to do our homeowner workshop, it's just a little section in our newsletter. Like, there's no additional cost, and it's content that they're only going to get by reading that newsletter.
So how much did it cost us for the workshop this Saturday?
It cost us nothing.
Okay, because we highlighted it in the newsletter that we were already printing.
Correct. So we already have the cost. And then we had our lender, we donated a couple gift cards to give away, like, you tape a ticket under the chair, or the first person who asked a great question, you throw out a gift card, or you just make it fun.
How many listing appointments did you get out of the workshop this weekend?
So it was fun because we had a lot of our team members in there. And so we actually, believe it or not, we only had one person from the outside show up. So she got a very personal experience. We even had commissions come up in there. So my whole team got to see me do commission objection handling in front of everyone on a stage. It was fun. And we have the appointment at 1:30 tomorrow. And she's a cell. Unfortunately, she's buying in Henderson, Nevada. If anyone on here is Henderson, Nevada, I've got a referral we'll be placing, but super, super exciting. We've every single month, this is God's honest truth, right? Not that I haven't told you the truth and everything else, but we have literally taken listings 100% from every single workshop, some 3 or 4 at a time.
So speaking of Henderson, Nevada, Cindy Lohman asks, she says she's in Las Vegas and can service all of Las Vegas easily.
Does that include Henderson?
It does.
Okay.
Do you get all these zip codes in the area and start working on them, or just a select few? No, we do not market to all the zip codes in Arizona that we own. We kind of just have them sitting there, and if we want to activate them, we can. But no, we service all of Phoenix Metro. In fact, if you've got anybody moving here or moving from here, we should probably be your go-to. But we're able to service the entire valley, but we only market to just a tiny area. And part of that is because we looked at the data and found out which areas make a ton of sense. And one of the things that we teach in our MAPS coaching course is how to choose those farms from a business mindset, and which areas to market to more heavily. And so that's what we focus on. Do you do just groups or pages too? It seems harder to go. For Facebook, we actually do. We have pages and we have groups, different neighborhoods that we've tried different things. And I don't know, it seems like more people do like the page for us. The groups don't have as much interaction, but a lot of those neighborhoods already had a group. But yeah, if you are coming into a new build neighborhood and you're able to own the group, get on that. I can say that we are starting to see more groups in neighborhoods and people still being members of all of those. Why aren't they moving to Alaska? So should I grab all the zips and group them later? Correct. If you're able to get, if you know that you're going to market in an area and you're able to get a domain, go for it. But a lot of those zip codes just are not available. In Asia, 5-digit numbers mean quite a bit, especially in China, and so they will buy up the 5-digit number domains pretty frequently, so they're not easy to get. They tend to be kind of expensive. You mentioned issue.com. Can you tell me what is the advantage for this? We don't pay for it, Marietta. It's just a means of when we're talking with agents, that's where we post it just so we can share it easily without people having to download a 60 megabyte PDF, which is what we print. And so it's just a means of us sharing. We don't actually market the newsletters that we put on there. We do everything digitally. Patty's got a great question, Kenny. How much is your MAPS class? What costs? How long does the course run? You know, I think we have a slide for that.
It's actually priceless, but but for you, it's only, I don't even know how much it is.
It's $297. It's 12 weeks. The next one's starting March 13. We just kind of updated a little bit, moved things around a little bit. So it's got some fresh content in there. Why we farm, we spend a week on looking at that. Choosing a farm, we look at the math, give you a nice little spreadsheet to be able to look at the data and make a good business plan versus just I like that neighborhood. Because we have some neighborhoods that people really want to farm, and then they look at the math and realize it's a very popular neighborhood, but once people move there, they don't want to leave. And so there's not a lot of turnover. So we look at a lot of different factors there. We look at branding and positioning because that's why we farm. We farm to be top of mind so that when anybody in the market that we're in that neighborhood, whenever they think of real estate, we're the first thing that comes to their mind. So that's why we do all of this stuff. So we focus on that. Look at hyper-local marketing, how that's different, some farm marketing techniques and different things that we do and some other farmers do. And then we've got some how-tos on that. Prospecting in your farm, it's a entire session just on phone scripts that are adapted. And if you're going to be prospecting in your farm, how that is different in carrying on a communication and a conversation that was started with your mailers and protecting your brand at the same time while doing phone prospecting. The farm route, some of the stuff that we talked about on this call, as well as going a little bit deeper and creating brand ambassadors. We talk about the network meeting and a few other things in there, building up some referral sources in the neighborhood. We talk about creating a giving culture in your farm. Talk about our nonprofit here and some of the things that we've done partnering with our community in doing some really cool stuff around here. Being a local market expert, some of the stuff that you need to know and pay attention to. Niche farming, using our existing marketing to reach more focused groups, doing some market segmenting. We talked a little bit on this call about our Road Back Home program and how we were able to build an entirely different brand and reach an entirely different group of people at absolutely no cost because we were already sending the mailer. And then connecting online, different things that we do to farm online.
Also, don't forget, hopefully you guys are downloaded Kelly and working with her now on your app. Don't forget to, like Kendra already did, send me a request and we'll be connected because we get a lot of people moving in and out. Arizona, I think that's why we're the playground for all the tech toys because we get a lot of turnover here. We definitely see a lot of Midwest and, from Chicago over coming this way, but you get people going home too. They get homesick. So make sure and connect with me on Kelly, and we'll make sure that we can keep each other in business as long as we can.
So got a couple questions if for those that want to stay on the call. There is a coupon code on the screen right now for saving 15% off. And they said it's just available today. So that's it. Web 15.
15% off. What are we thinking?
I know.
Just teasing.
Let's see. Will the coaching program include what you're talking about today about farming and reaching out to business? Yeah, we go into pretty intense depth on all that stuff. Examples, templates, yes. We got a lot of examples, a lot of resources, got a lot of how-tos just on some of the
we'll give you
marketing
everything
events
that we do. We just won't do it for you.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it for you.
I have to tell my team that too, by the way. But we can set the stage, but you gotta go act. So
I think one of the biggest things people want from farming resources is a plug and play cookie cutter, and there is not a cookie cutter to farming. We found that out just in farming one neighborhood to another neighborhood. What works in one place does not work in the other. Price points differ, tastes differ, local branding differs, and so that's we'll teach you how, and you're going to figure out what works best in your farm. Will this be available to listen to later tonight or tomorrow? I believe so, Jeremy. I think they're going to send out the link. They said, yes, we'll send out a copy of the recording with a link to register for the program later today. So thank you all for being on the call today. And
all right, Hannah, thank you, Hannah.
Great time.
We got you in Kelly now, so we are now friends. Anybody else, send it over. I'd love to connect with you. So.
All right, everybody, you have a great day. We'll go sell some real estate.
Oh.